Hello, lovely people. You're welcome to my channel. This is Eunice. In this video, I'll be sharing with you how to make this trendy baggy trouser, which is also called a jumbo trouser. This trouser has a big elastic band on the waistline, which is giving it this gathering effect you see right here. And it also has a rope that makes it adjustable. So you can adjust this rope and then here we have two inner side pockets, one on the left and then another on the right. This trouser is really comfortable, stylish, and beautiful, and it is very easy to make, which makes it a beginner's friendly tutorial. I hope this is something you are interested in learning. If this is it, please make sure to keep on watching till the end. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly hit on the subscribe button to subscribe and ensure you put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And please feel free to share this video, like this video, leave nice comments. Thank you, and let's get right into the video. I'll be making use of this Adire fabric for this project, and you'll be needing about 3 yards to 3.5 yards depending on your size. And I also have this elastic band. This is a 2 inches elastic band. You can see it's quite wide. This is 2 inches elastic band, and I have just 1 yard here. Next, we're going to calculate the amount of fabric that we're going to fold. So we're going to do some calculations. So first you need the hip measurement, and I'm working with hip 38. So I'll divide hip 38 by 4 and we have 9.5. Then next I'm going to determine the front crotch extension. So to get the front crotch extension, I'm going to divide the same hip measurement by 20. So 38 divided by 20, I have 1.9. So 1.9 is the front crotch extension. Then next, I'm going to determine how wide I want the baggy to be. So I'll determine the amount of inches to add, and I'm going to be adding 3 inches to this measurement. So this totally depends on how wide you want it to be. So in this case, I'm adding just 3 inches, then plus 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So I'm going to be using half inch to stitch the inseam and then half inch to stitch the outseam. So that's 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to sum all this up, all these numbers up, and here, having summed them up, I'm going to have a total of 15.4. Okay, so I have 15.4. We can just round it up to 15.5. So for the front, the amount of fabric I'm going to fold is 15.5. So next, we'll go ahead and calculate for the back. So to calculate for the back, first I'm going to divide the hip measurement by 4, which is 9.5. Then we'll go ahead and calculate the back crotch extension. The back crotch extension is the hip measurement divided by 10. So 38 divided by 10 is 3.8. So 3.8 is our back crotch extension. I'm also going to add that ease of 3 inches because that's how wide we want it to be, and then plus 1 inch. So that's a total of 4 inches. Okay, so I'll sum all this up and then we'll have a total of 17.3. So I have 17.3. So I'm going to round this up to 17.5. So the amount of fabric I'm going to fold for the back is going to be 17.5. So next we're going to calculate the crotch depth. So to get the crotch depth is very easy. You divide the hip measurement by 4, which is 9.5. Now, because we are making a baggy trouser, we're not going to use exactly this 9.5. We want it to be baggy. So I'll add 2 inches to this measurement. So that means I'm going to be using a crotch depth of 11.5. So the crotch depth is 11.5. Okay. So I'll go ahead and fold my fabric for the front first. And we're going to be folding 15.5, which is what we have calculated. So right here, I have 15.5 inches on a fold. And as you can see, I have marked my starting line. So this is the waistline. So from this starting line, I'm going to place my tape from 2 inches, which is our band measurement. Can you see? I placed my tape exactly on 2 inches, which is our band measurement. And then I'm going to mark the crotch depth of 11.5. Next, I'm going to mark the full length of the trouser, which is 44 inches. And then I'm going to add my hemming allowance of 2 inches. Take note that I started my measurement from 2 inches, which is the length of our band. So you want to make sure you put into consideration the length of the band. Next, I'll go ahead and mark the hip line. So from the crotch line, I'll go up by 2 inches, and that is the hip line. So between 2 inches to 2.5 above the crotch line is the hip line. So I'll go ahead and straighten out the line. Okay, so having done that, next I'm going to mark the front calculation. This 15.5 we calculated, I'm going to enter it here, but I'm going to enter them one after the other so that we understand it. So from the folded part of my fabric, I entered the hip measurement divided by 4, which is 9.5. Next, I'm going to mark extra 3 inches, which is the extra inches we're adding for the baggy effect. Next, I'll mark 1 inch for our sewing allowance. And then lastly, I'm going to mark the front crotch extension. And that front crotch extension, I'm going to approximate it to 2 inches because it is 1.9, so I'm marking 2 inches. Okay, so here I now have a total of 15.5 inches on this line. Okay, so now on the hip line, I'm going to enter the same measurement but minus the front crotch extension. So I have 15.5 here. Remember, the front crotch extension I use is 2 inches. So I'm going to be subtracting that 2 inches and I'll mark it on the hip line. So that means I marked 13 inches on the hip line. So 15.5 minus the front crotch extension. So that gave me 13.5 inches and I marked it on the hip line. Then here on the waistline, I'm just going to subtract half inch from what I have on the hip line and I marked it on the waistline, which is 13 inches. So I went in by that half inch just so that it gives us a bit of a slant on the waistline. So you can see I've connected from the hip line to the waistline and I'm using the curved part of my ruler to connect to the crotch line. So now we now have our crotch depth, okay? So that's it. So next I'm going to measure what I have here on the crotch line and I'll take down the same measurement on the full length of the trouser, which is 15.5 inches. I'm not reducing anything from this. I took exactly that 15.5 inches and I marked it at the hem of the trouser. So this trouser is basically straight because we are making a baggy trouser. You want to achieve that baggy effect. Okay, so I'm using my straight ruler to connect from the crotch line down to the hem line. So you can see this side is on fold. So basically all I need to do is just to slash that folded side open. So we have two sides of our front. Because our fabric is on fold, so automatically we're drafting for the two sides of the front. I hope we get that. So before we go ahead and cut, on this starting line, I will go up by half inch. So this half inch I'm going up by is for joining the band. So this is basically the seam allowance to join our waistband. Okay, so now that we're done with drafting the front, I'll go ahead and cut out exactly what we have here. So I'll slash open the side so that we can have the two sides of our front, the left and right. So you can see we now have two pieces. Next, I'll go ahead and fold the back piece. And to fold the back piece, we're going to be folding 17.5. Remember, we have already done our calculations. So here I have my fabric folded and I have up to 17.5 inches here. So from the starting point of my fabric, now this is the back, pay attention please. From the starting point of the fabric, I'll come down by 2 inches. So having come down by 2 inches, I'm just going to mark a straight line here. And you see? So I've come down by 2 inches. So next I'm going to bring in the front piece of our trouser. And then I'll make sure that the folded part of my fabric is aligned with the side of the trouser. Can you see? I'm aligning them. And take note that as I'm placing the front piece of the trouser, I'm placing it exactly on that 2 inches line I marked. Can you see? We want to make sure that they align. That's the starting point where you marked the 2 inches. Make sure that it is well aligned. Okay, so now that this is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to enter the back measurement, which is this 17.5 inches. Can you see? So here we already have our front piece on top of the back. And remember that the front piece we already have 15.5 inches. So now the difference between the front and back is just a difference of 2 inches. Remember that the front crotch is the hip measurement divided by 20, while the back crotch is the hip measurement divided by 10. So the difference is just that 2 inches, okay, which is 1.9. So you can see I marked that 2 inches on the crotch line. So I came out by extra 2 inches. So placing my tape from there, from the folded part, I have a total of 17.5. So here on the hip line, can you see this is the hip line? I'll come out by 1 inch. This is because we have our butt at the back. So the back side of our trouser is bigger than the front. Okay. So I came out by 1 inch on the hip line. And then on the crotch line, all I did was to enter the difference between our calculation. We have 15.5 for the front. For the back, we have 17.5. So the difference is 2 inches and I marked it on the crotch line. So now on the waistline, take note of this part. On the waistline, I'm going up by 1.5 inches. And this is for the butt rise because we have our butt at the back. So can you see that on the waistline, I went up by 1.5 inches. That's the essence of coming down by that 2 inches I came down by before we started our measurements. Okay, so I went up by 1.5. So next I'm going to measure what I have here on the waistline. So can you see? And I'm going to measure it in a slanted way. So I have 13 inches here on my waistline, on the waistline. So I'm going to measure it from that 1.5 inches I went up and then mark the same 13 inches. But can you see that I placed the tape slantly? So it went up at the crotch area, which is the center front. Then at the side front, it aligns with the side front. I hope you understand that. So the line is not straight, it's slanted. You want to make sure that they align at the side. So the part where I went up is 1.5 at the crotch depth. That's at the center front. The side that has the crotch depth is the center front. So at the side here, at the side back, they are equal. Please take note of that, okay? So this is it. Okay, so basically that half inch I added for the front. You remember when we finished drafting our front, I went up by half inch, which I said is for stitching the band to the trouser. So because I have placed the front piece over the back piece and I went up by that 1.5 inches, automatically that half inch I added to the back, to the front has also be added here. I hope you understand that. Next, I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect the back crotch line. And you see, so I connected from the back crotch extension to the 1 inch I marked on the hip line, and then to the 1.5 inches I went up by on the back crotch line, okay, on the waistline. So next, I'm going to measure everything I have on the crotch line, that's on the crotch depth, which is 17.5 inches, and I'll take it down to the hem and connect it straight as well, just like I did for the front. So now for the back we have our 17.5 inches, and that is what I am taking down straight. So you don't need to do anything here, just take it down straight and it will come out really beautiful. Okay, so now we're done drafting our back. I'll go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so starting from the hem, I'm cutting it out. Then I'll go ahead and take out the back crotch. Can you see? So this is our back crotch. You can see that the back is wider than the front because we have our butt there. So here I'm going to cut out the slope. Can you see? So can you see that they are well aligned at the side? So it is at the center back, that's at the crotch depth, that it goes higher. I hope you understand that. So I'll go ahead and take out the excess we don't need. So now we have our back piece. I'll also slash open the side back here. Can you see? Just to separate the two sides of the back. So we now have the two pieces, okay? So this is just it. So the next thing we're going to do is to cut our pocket, which is what I have here already. So standard pocket is 7 inches on fold and in length 14 inches. So I have a length of 14 inches here and I have a fold of 7 inches and I have two pieces. So what this basically means is that when you open it up, you're going to have 14 by 14. But because it is on fold, it is 7 by 14. So I went ahead to iron the center and then you can see me going ahead to notch the middle. Notching this middle is very important. I notched on the crease line. So next we're going to mark the pocket. So here, this is our side front. This is the front piece of our trouser. So from the side front here, I will come in by 3 inches. And you see, from the side front, I came in by 3 inches. Take note that I'm marking this on the front and it is on the side of the front. Having come in by 3 inches, I'll go down by 7.5 inches. And you can see I'm placing my tape away from that half inch, which is our joining allowance from the band. So if we place it from the beginning, that means I'll have 8 inches. Okay. So having marked it, I'll go ahead and use my ruler to slant it this way. Can you see? So I have a slanted line. So next I'm going to open up the pocket. Now make sure that the pocket is not on fold and place them right side facing right side. Can you see? Right side facing right side and the pocket is open. So I'll make sure to align the waistline with the top of the pocket. And you see, make sure that all the points are well aligned. So having done that, next I'm going to bring in my scissors and cut on this slanted line. So remember we have the two pieces of our trouser, the left and the right side, and we have the two pieces of our pockets as well. So you can see by cutting out these pieces, I have 4 pieces in total. So now this is what our pockets looks like. You see? So you want to make sure to open up the pockets when doing this because this is going to be done only on one side, the side that will come to the front. Now I'm going to place the pocket, right side of the pocket facing right side of the trouser on the side here. And take note that I'm placing the side that I cut, that's the side with the slant. And then I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch it on half inch. I will repeat the same thing on the other side. I'll place them right side facing right side and then I'll go ahead and stitch on half inch. Okay, so after stitching on half inch, I'll turn this to the wrong side. Can you see I'm turning the pocket now to the wrong side? So by folding it into two, you can see that notch part I folded into two. So it will make you know exactly where is the middle of your pocket. So can you see how it now aligns at the side? So if you don't get the midpoint, you are likely to shift it, okay? So now, after sewing our pocket to the side, next I'm going to top stitch the pocket. I'm going to top stitch it. Can you see? I'm just going to top stitch it. You're not going to just leave it like that. I'll top stitch it to the trouser. So I'll go do this and come back and show us the next thing to do. So as you can see, I have stitched the pocket and I've also top stitched it. I've repeated the same thing for the second one. So now we're going to close up the down part of our pocket. There are two ways to do this. You can just close it up directly, but you have to weave the hem. But since I don't want to weave the hem and I want to give it a neat finishing, so I'm going to place it this way. Can you see how I'm going to open it? Now, right side is facing right side. So I would turn it this way so that wrong side can face wrong side. You see? And then I'll stitch. So after stitching, then I will turn it right side facing right side. That's I'll turn the pocket now back to normal. So having turned it back into its normal place, then I'll go ahead and top stitch the down part. Exactly that part where I stitched. I'm go ahead and top stitch it. Can you see? I'll top stitch it. The idea is so that when you put your hand inside the pocket, you won't touch the seam allowance. You won't be able to feel the seam allowance. You want to neatly cover up this. So I will do that, and then next I'm going to join the front crotch together, and then I'll also repeat the same thing. I'll join the back crotch together. That's right side facing right side. So I'll do this, and then this is it. So you can see I've stitched the pockets, and this is what we have. Can you see? So, and I stitched it to the side of the pocket. So after closing it up, I just stitched it to the side of the pocket just to keep it in place. And this is what we have. So after closing the down part, stitch the pocket to the side, okay, to keep it in place. So you can see I've also stitched the crotch. So next I'm going to place the trouser, the front side of the trouser facing the back side. That's right side of the trouser of the front side facing the right side of the back side. I hope you understand that. Then I'm going to stitch on half inch. Remember, I added 1 inch for my sewing allowance, so I'll stitch on half inch on the out seam, and I'll also stitch on half inch on the inseam, so which will exhaust the 1 inch I added. Okay, so while stitching the inseam, I'll advise you to stitch from the center. From the center, you stitch from the center to the right, and then stitch from the center to the left, so that you have the crotch line well aligned at the center, so that you don't mistakenly shift it. So you start from the middle and take it down to the hem of the trouser, and then also from the other side down to the hem of the trouser. Then I'll go ahead and also weave it, which is what I have done. As you can see, I've also woven it. After weaving it, I went ahead to hem the down part of the trouser. And you see, so we have the down part of our trouser properly hemmed. So, and also for the pocket, and you see that I stitched it to the waistline. You don't want to leave it flying about. All you need to do is just stitch it so that you have it sitting properly. So I stitched the other side as well. So now it's time for us to create our band. So to create the band, you're going to measure the waistline. So I haven't stitched all the sides. Now here I have 24 inches. And you know I'm measuring one side. So 24 inches at the back, 24 inches in front, which is a total of 48 inches. So here I have the band I have cut out. The length of the band, now this is length, the length of the band, and you see unfold is 3 inches. Unfold is 3 inches. And then in width I cut 50 inches. Remember that the waist measurement is 48 inches in total, so I cut 50 inches so that the remaining 2 inches will be our sewing allowance. So I have 50 inches here. I'm going to be using 1 inch on the left, 1 inch on the right to stitch, so that will leave me with the 48 inches. So like I already emphasized that the length of the band is 3 inches. I went ahead to use 3 inches because when we stitch the band to the waistline with half inch, we're going to be left with 2.5. 2.5, and the elastic band we're using is 2 inches so that it can easily pass. If you make your band exactly 2.5 and then you stitch on half inch, you're left with 2 inches. It will not be easy for your elastic to pass through. So add a bit of ease, whether 2 and 1/4, so that it can pass through. So for me, I added 2.5. So I added half inch so that it's easy for it to pass through. Okay. So next I'm going to open up the band and place it this side way, right side facing right side. That's on the open part. Okay. So having placed it right side facing right side, first I'm going to mark 1 inch. Can you see? Remember I said 1 inch is my sewing stitching allowance. So I marked 1 inch. Okay. And then I'll mark that point. And then I'm going to leave a space of 1 inch. Please watch carefully. I marked 1 inch first, and then next I'm going to leave a space of 1 inch away from the first 1 inch I marked. Okay. And then next I'm going to mark the same 1 inch and then take it all the way down. So you can see that I marked 1 inch first and left a space of 1 inch, and then I marked the rest down. That's just marked down. This is because we want to create the hole where our rope will pass from. So first I marked 1 inch, gave a space, and then stitch the rest of the part. Can you see? So can you see how my finger is coming out from there? So you want to make sure that you leave that space so that the rope can come out from there. So next I'm going to fold the band, wrong side facing wrong side. You can see that's, I'll make sure that the part I stitched is on the inside. So next I'm going to sew the band to the waistline. And to sew the band to the waistline, you want to take note of that part that has the hole. Make sure that the part that has the hole is the part facing the right side of the trouser. So right side of the trouser must be facing the part with the hole. This is so that when you are done sewing the trouser, the hole will be the one outside. That's the one we're going to be seeing outside because the rope has to appear outside. So that part I stitched is the part I'm placing at the center front because the hole has to be at the center front. Can you see? So the part with the joining is facing the center front, which is the front crotch. So I'll go ahead and pin all the sides, and here we are. As you can see, I'm done pinning it. So I'm going to stitch this to the waistline, but while stitching to the waistline, I'm going to leave a space of 4 inches where our elastic band will pass. And I skipped something. So the part where I stitched that 1 inch, I gave that space. I went ahead to top stitch the seam allowance inside. This is so that when you put your rope inside, it will not be bringing out the seam allowance on the outside. So don't just stitch that 1 inch and just leave it like that. Top stitch the seam allowance to the left and to the right. I hope you understand that. Okay. So I'll go ahead and stitch the waistband and leave a space of 4 inches where we are going to insert our elastic through. So now the next thing we're going to do is to cut the length of the elastic. So the actual waist measurement of the person I'm making this outfit for, or this baggy trouser for, is 27 inches. I'm going to cut exactly that 27 inches. I'm not adding anything. I'm not reducing anything yet. Okay. So I'm going to cut exactly that 27 inches. So we aren't reducing this. Okay. So you will need a safety pin to be able to insert this elastic into the waistline. So a big safety pin will work better instead of using a small one. Be careful not to twist the elastic band. So when you're putting it, just be very careful so that you don't twist it. If you twist it, it will not sit well. So you can see that my elastic band has come out and you can see it's sitting well. It is not twisted. So now this is it outside, both sides. So I'm going to overlap the elastic band. Don't stitch them just like that. So overlap them like 1 inch over 1 inch. Can you see? And then stitch about 2 or 3 times. If you have a zigzag machine, you can run a zigzag stitch on it. Can you see how I overlapped them? So I'll go ahead and stitch it. And then I'll go ahead and close that opening I left. Okay. So as you can see, I am done doing that, and this is what our waistline looks like. Can you see how beautiful it looks already? So the next thing I'm going to do is to top stitch the elastic. So to top stitch the elastic, first I need to straighten it out. I need to widen it out. Okay, so I'll have someone help me hold one side. So this is so that gathers, we don't have more of the trouser gathering on one side. You want to make sure that the waistline is very even. So first I pin the side here. Okay. So next I'm going to pin the middle here. I'm just using pins so that we don't have the elastic gathering more to one side, please. You want to take note of that. So now I've taken the side that someone was helping me hold. So you can see I've pinned that side as well. And then I'm also going to, and you see that my gathers is even, then I'll go ahead and pin the center front as well. Can you see that? Okay, so now that everything is even, so I'll go ahead and top stitch on the elastic band. So while top stitching the elastic band, I'm going to stitch exactly at the tip. I'll make sure not to stitch on the opening, that 1 inch opening. Make sure that your thread does not cross that opening. Stitch at the tip, okay? So I'm starting from the center front. So while stitching, you're going to be stretching out the trouser. You need to drag it very well. So this stretching out, that those pins I pinned, it will actually help us so that we don't have our fabric gathering more to one side. You want the waistline to sit really even. You don't want one side fuller than the other. Okay. So I'm going to stretch it out very well. You need to use your strength when sewing this. So drag it. You will need your two hands to do this. So you'll be dragging one side while you are stitching. Okay. So drag, I'll keep dragging it. So I'll stitch from one point to the other. So now you can see I'm stitching from the side. The side will take me to the center back. The center back will take me to the other side. I'll keep doing this. Please take note of what I said. Don't stitch on that opening, that 1 inch opening where we are going to insert our rope in. So this is just basically it. You can already see that it is sitting well already. Okay, you can see it. So after stitching the upper part, I'm going to stitch the down part, making sure to stay away or to avoid that 1 inch opening. So I'm basically going to repeat the same thing. I'll make sure to drag it well while I stitch it. Okay, so we are almost done with our trouser. So if you have watched this video up until now and you haven't subscribed, please kindly hit on the subscribe button to subscribe, and also put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Please share this video, like this video, leave nice comments, share your thoughts with me. Let me know if this video was helpful. Let me know if you learned something from this video. Okay, so now we're done stitching the elastic band. So the next thing we're going to do is to insert our rope. And the rope I have here, after stitching the rope, it is 1/2 inch in width. Okay, 1/2 inch in width. And then the length of the rope is the waist measurement times 2.5. So that 27 inches, which is the waist measurement of my client, I multiplied it by 2.5. So that's how long the rope is. So you want it to be long enough for it to be able to pass. Okay, so we have come to the end of this video. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share this video, leave nice comments. And here is the final outcome of our jumbo trouser, aka baggy trouser. So we are pairing this trouser with a crop top. And you see how beautiful our crop top is, sitting really pretty on the jumbo trouser, on our baggy trouser. So if you would like to see a video on how this crop top was created, drop crop top in the comment section, or you can drop crop in the top in the comment section, and I'm going to make a video on how this crop top was created. You can see that the jumbo trousers usually goes with really small top. You don't want to make anything big. You just need a top that will sit exactly on the waistline of the trouser, or a little above the waistline, depending on your preference. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this and you learned something. If you did, please make sure to like, share, and do not hesitate to subscribe. Thank you, and see you in my next one. Bye.